My mom created a fun way for us to learn the most important rules of life. Yah's commands.
With Yah's Big Ten Commands, we get to see His will's best for us.
Keep Yah first.
No graven nemesis.
Don't take Yah's name in vain.
Remember Shabbat and keep it holy.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Mr. and Mrs., don't cheat.
Don't steal.
Don't tell lies.
Don't covet.
This changes everything. Get your set of Yah's Big Ten Commands at Big Ten Designs today.
Even when I'm weak, your word sustains me. I can suffer long. Nothing can change me or take away my love of y'all. Into the future, needing answers so bad. It's hard to bear. Someone is raging too high. It's all consuming.
Grace and peace, Shabbat Shalom, family. How y'all doing tonight? So glad to be here with y'all this evening. We're going to have a very deep discussion tonight. Do me a favor as you get in, if you have not already done so, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up so we can go ahead and get more people in the building. I pray that y'all are doing well. It is getting ready to be our rest day, and y'all knows we can all use it. You know what I'm saying? Woo, child, we can all use some rest. Hallelujah, we need some rest. So tonight, especially with what we're going to talk about, y'all head's going to be hurting tonight. My head's been hurting all this week. So once I give the message, I'm handing it to you, okay? And then you can process it from there. But good to be back with y'all. Praise y'all for each and every one of you. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to give a shout out to the fam because I appreciate y'all coming in. So grace and peace to Clifford Possible. Shabbat Shalom to you, my brother. Brother Darnell, peace and blessings to you, grace and peace. Desiree Dennis, peace and blessings to you. Nawana, and I might be saying that wrong. I apologize. Peace, family, to you as well. Beautiful name. Van P, shalom, shalom, grace and peace to you. Brother Timothy in the building, grace and peace to you. I hope you're doing well. Ephraim Ben Yasharala, Shabbat Shalom, grace and peace to you. Tia Miller, peace and blessings. Glad to have you here. Non-revisionist, shalom, shalom to you. Got Don P in the building, grace and peace to you. Got Miss Kimberly, shalom. Glad to have you in here. Got Brother Damon in the building, peace and blessings to you. Georgetta Pinnick, grace and peace. Thank you for coming in tonight. Blessings. Ivan Juan Little, Shabbat Shalom, grace and peace to you. Sister Nia Zeki in the building, shalom, sis. How you doing? All right, got Larina in the building, Shabbat Shalom to you as well. Got Deborah Mangrum, peace and blessings to you. S. Dowdy, Shabbat Shalom. Stephen Patrick, grace and peace. And yes, God, blessings to you. Thank y'all so much for coming in. I hear you there. I understand. You know, some days are challenging, right? Some days are challenging, and that is kind of the way it is in this life, right? In this life, we will have many challenges, okay? But praise Yahuwah because He gives us the strength to overcome all of those challenges that we face. So, again, thank y'all for showing up for part 2. Those of you all who know, I did a part 1 to this discussion a couple of weeks back. And that was, you know, it was a lot. It was an eye opener. You know, a lot of things came out of the text. And we talked a lot about what would be considered the regathering. We don't see necessarily the word second Exodus in the scriptures, but we understand that the regathering to be symbolic in that Yahuwah will come and rescue his people from the 4 corners of the earth. So we're going to be talking about part 2. Part 1, we cover what it is not. And tonight we are going to be talking about what it is. So again, get those thumbs up so we can have this conversation with as many people as possible. So first I want to take a brief second to give a shout out to Minister Yakoba of Teo Ministries. Man, listen, I don't know if y'all were able to catch his 42 months delivery, his message last week. I actually just got to hear the full message tonight, right? So like I came in late last week and then I had to leave early. So I didn't get a chance to really like get to the meaty parts of that message until tonight. I'm actually glad because that allowed me to be able to process my own message beforehand. But man, that was so impactful. And I reached out to him again tonight, you know, and told him thanks for just, you know, really just dissecting so much of the text in the way that he did, because, you know, like he said, and I tell you, listen, if you haven't heard that message, you definitely need to hear it. But one of the things he first said when he came on was, listen, it's not so cut and dry. It's not cookie cutter, right? And oftentimes when it comes to scripture, you know, we have been given a script. You know, especially those of us who came out of Christendom, we've been given a script of eschatological events and how they're supposed to happen. You know, not just, you know, eschatological, historical events, salvific events, you know, but especially when it comes to the prophets, we've been given an idea. And it's been almost like it's not been from a place of an idea, but more from a place of concrete understanding. And as Yahuwah has opened up our eyes, been so gracious to open up our eyes to the truth of who we are, we see that a lot of that quote unquote concrete understanding of the study of end times has a lot of fallacy in it. There's a lot of bone to it, right? So we have to go back into the text, letting the Ruach HaKodesh be our guide, and he's opening up our eyes. So, you know, I totally agree with Brother Yakoba when he's like, listen, this stuff is a lot meatier. It's a lot meatier. And I think that when we approach the text, especially when we're talking about things that are yet to come, that we have to be very humble in how we approach the text. Because honestly, when I entered into this study, I entered it with that same type of mindset, like, oh, I already know, you know, I'm just going to bring out those main scriptures that talk about the second Exodus, and then boom, bada bing, bada boom. But whoa, let me tell you how wrong I was. I did a deep dive. And in that deep dive, there were times I was scratching my head and I'm going, really? I'm just, and y'all are going to see tonight as I explain. So, I'm going to do like Brother Jacoba did and does oftentimes. I'm going to pull from him. I'm going to say, chew the meat, spit out the bones, and don't come for me in the chat. Okay, don't come for me in the comment section. If you have a question, email it to me, and I'll try the best I can to answer it for you. But don't come from my head. I'm going to try to do the best that I can. Okay, so listen, if you are a student of Yah's word and you take notes, this is a great time to take some notes. Okay, so if you have a pad and a pen or a laptop or whatever you do to take some notes, you can do that. And of course, you can listen on the playback to just take it a little bit at a time. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into the message. So there are three main ways in which are commonly depicted as means of travel during the second Exodus. So we're going to talk about that because we know that the whole idea behind the second Exodus is actually picking us up out of the territories that we're at, out of the lands of our captivity, and bringing us into our land, right? Via the wilderness. So there's modes of transportation, if you will, that are commonly depicted, right? One would be by land or foot, okay? The second would be by sea, and the third would be by some form of air, okay? And the common understanding is that the second Exodus is also discussed as a singular event that happens before the second coming of the Messiah and as a way to protect Israel from the tribulation that comes upon the whole earth. So now it's not beam me up, Scotty, like the Christian church preaches in terms of pre-tribulation rapture and going up into the heaven, but more so a place of protection on the earth, right? Excuse me. Particularly for the children of Israel. Now, also, what we're going to do is we're going to examine in detail the main scriptures used to discuss these positions, all right? But first, what I want to do is I want us to take a minute to listen to some thoughts surrounding what the second Exodus is, okay? So different people have had different quote unquote dreams, visions, and we're going to see kind of like what they have to say. So bear with me for a little bit so we can dissect. We're going to start with this first sister who talks about by ships. Take a listen.
Hello, everyone. I was coming on here because I know I've commented on several people's posts about the three dreams that God had revealed to me about what appeared to be a second Exodus. So I did want to make a video to address that. Okay, so my dream started back in March of this year. God showed me ports of where cruise ships were going to be lined up all around where there's a coast. Wherever there's a coast, there would be cruise ships lined up. And I saw people, which is the children of Israel. He did specify that, rushing to get on these cruise ships. But he also had people already designated there to help them get loaded onto the ships, a load of material and loading luggage onto the ships. Something happened. And I don't know what, because he doesn't show that part of what happened. But something occurs, and it's like a rush where everybody's running and trying to get on these cruise ships. So whatever happens, it causes this force to bring the people onto the cruise ships. And then what I saw was people were actually trying to prevent this from happening. There were people out there trying their best to do anything to prevent people from getting on the ships, preventing from the ships allowing people to get on them, just causing a big fuss about it. But God handled that situation. I'm not going to say how, but anyone that will attempt to prevent that from happening was handled by him. There were also people that felt like they were entitled to be on the ships, and those people were dealt with too. After everybody was boarded, God showed me it was a fleet of ships all going to the same place. So it was like I went from getting onto the ship. I don't see what happens once we get on the ship, but to being up in the air above the ships. That way I could see that there's a whole fleet going to the same direction. Okay, so since then, I want to say months later, God showed me back in June, I want to say like the last week of June, videos from other people he have shown this vision to. And I saw their videos and it was verbatim to the dreams that he showed me. I couldn't believe it. It was like those people were in my dream and recorded everything that I had saw in the dream.
So as you see, the sister is saying that she saw dreams. She saw a dream of cruise ships, and other people also had dreams that were similar. As a matter of fact, I actually posted one of those dreams by a brother who I think he had a dream maybe 2 years ago, and someone had sent it to me, and so I posted it on my channel. So I know that she's not the only one who's had dreams of seeing the children of Israel leaving by way of ships, but that is the way she visualized it in the vision that she had. And I'm going to share now another brother who talks about by air. Now you're going to hear him use the word rapture, and I want you to just take a pause and let him complete what he's saying, because he kind of envisions things in an interesting way in terms of how this thing all wraps up. So just take a listen.
All right, so I'm gonna give this part two to the vision of the second coming that I had like 12 years ago. I'm gonna give a little bit more details to help you understand, and don't base any decisions off of what I tell you. Just take it into consideration. So in this vision that I had, war was going on, and like a lot of people or groups or whatever, people were running, towards safety, getting out of the line of fire or whatever is going on, trying to get to safety. It was dark outside and it was very fearful, and it felt like it was about midday, not midnight, midday. Like I think the sun was dark in some kind of way. So as we were, pretty much climbing up to the highest point to get to safety, the Messiah came back. And as I stated before, it was dark outside. But when the Messiah came back, it was daylight again. Like he was basically the sun. Now at this point, this is what happens. When the Messiah came back, everybody's heads turned and looked in the sky, like not by your choice. It's like something made our heads like turn and look. Then after that moment, I think time froze. Like the Most High has the power to freeze time if he wants. Then me and the group of people that was with me, I couldn't see their faces or whatever. It's like blurred out. We started to go up into the sky. See, this tells me how fast this is gonna happen. Like, if time froze, but you are aware that time froze, and you see everybody else is not moving or, whatever, that's how fast it's gonna happen. It's like you're moving through hyperspace or whatever because time froze. Like, like the Flash, like when he's like moving so fast that everybody else is like they're moving real slow or whatever, or whoever has a superpower to freeze time and everybody's like barely moving, but you're moving. Like that's how fast it's gonna happen, towards my understanding. Now there's more details, but just stick around for this part 3. All right, so part 3 to my vision of the rapture. So like I was saying, when we were going up, I think time froze. So after the Messiah pretty much showed up and, made it daylight again, after that point, people, from people's perspective, people just went missing. But here's how I think it happened. This is Matthew 24:31. It says, and he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So when we started going up, it was like something just caught us up with a lot of power, I guess like by wind or something like that. We were still like in a physical body, so I guess we couldn't see the angels because they're in a spiritual body. angels are in the spiritual dimension, but we were still like in the 3D, physical body and everything. But when we got caught up, this is where I think we're going to head to. This is Revelations 12:14 says, the woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time, out of the serpent's reach. The woman, who I believe is Israel, was given the 2 wings, which I believe is the angels. That the verse I just read, it said, gather the elect. It says, was given the 2 wings of a great eagle. So to me, that's, some angels that have some big wings, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness. So this is pretty much like the first Exodus, when the children of Israel were released from Egypt and they went into the wilderness. So this wilderness would pretty much be like the rapture, where she would be taken care of for a time, times, and half a time, out of the serpent's reach. So when the serpent, who we know as the devil, will try to chase the children of Israel, like he did in the first Exodus, out to capture them, but they got out of reach of the serpent, of the devil, pretty much, or Pharaoh's army. So this is pretty much about to be like a repeat. But to me, it's not going to be within the known lands. So basically, this is just my understanding or theory. I would say, hey, don't take my word for it. Just take it in consideration. Don't base your decisions off of what I'm saying. Study, research for yourself, and, let the Spirit guide you, whatever.
Yes, Sister Talisha, I agree. I thought that one was very interesting. I actually had that one since the first message, and I wanted to hold on to it. But I thought that was very interesting, especially because many times in Revelation 12, we think of common modes of transportation like airplanes, but he's like, no, wings of angels. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm going to play one more, and this one is about the specific time in the wilderness, to answer your question, Phantom Warrior. Specifically in the wilderness. Now, he doesn't necessarily detail how we got there. This one's a little bit longer, but I want to play it because I feel like what this brother was detailing, what he was sharing, it just resonated with me in terms of just the mindset of what we as a people are dealing with now. I don't know if I'm playing the whole thing, but just in terms of what we as a people are going through now. So take a listen to this.
Shalom, shalom. How's everybody doing this morning? Hey, I wanted to share a dream that I had with y'all. I've been kind of keeping it to myself. I had this dream last week, but I tried to record it previously, but every time I tried to record, my mind would like blank out. So I kind of kept it to myself. I've sat on it for a few days. But I want to share it with y'all. So this was last week. I had a dream that was a lot of us. It was a lot of Yasharala. We were in somewhere in the Middle East or Arabia. Okay. I couldn't tell specifically where we were, but we were out in the desert under the sun. And when we were walking through wherever this city was, there was Arabic people there as well. And as we were walking past, they were trying to spit on us. They were disgusted at us. The fact that we were even there, And one guy, I saw him spit on us, and he got gripped up. Somebody grabbed him, like he was sitting on something like bleachers. In the dream, that's what it looked like. He was sitting on bleachers, and somebody snatched him up, you know what I mean? After he spit on us. I don't know what happened to him after that. But the next part of the dream after that, it was me and my wife, and my wife is pregnant right now. She's due around July 3rd, the end of June The date that they gave us was July 3rd. And something that I found interesting about the dream is she's still pregnant in the dream. And this next part, it's like, how do I explain it? You know, when you're at the airport and you're going to your flight, they have like that walkway, that tram walkway that you can stand on, and it helps you get to your flight faster. We were on one of those, but it was a big one. It was a big one. It's like all of us were walking on the path, but we were on that, and there were Gentiles there walking with us too. It was other Arabic people there mixed in with us. And my wife's ahead of me. She's like walking fast. You know, she's super pregnant. She's walking in front of me. And a Gentile woman comes up, you know, to the side of me, and she says, "Honey, are you okay?" You know, I don't know if I was like stressed out in the dream or what, you know, because she's so close to being due is what it seemed like, you know. And I told her, no, you know, I'm okay. So I don't know. It was we were definitely in an Arabic country. It was a lot of us. For her to be due in July, she's still pregnant in the dream. I know that the second Exodus is close. I'm not, you know, setting any dates or anything like that. We know a lot of the things that are coming. We know about, you know, the eclipse coming, and the symbol that it's made across America, the Aleph Tav, right? I'm learning Abari, Paleo Hebrew. You know, I don't know a lot yet, but I've looked into that whole thing and I find it interesting. You know what I mean? We know at the time of Passover is a high time for us to watch and be ready every single year. You know, since he's woken me up, it's always been a high watch time. Knowing about the second Exodus, we know, you know, I pray that all of us are counted worthy, you know, to escape the things that are coming upon the earth and to stand before the Son of Man. I pray that we make it out of here. You know, we know that the beast is coming, that he's going to be on the stage soon, you know, and I encourage all of you to stay in obedience, stay in repentance, whatever's going on. And I know I can't be the only one that's, you know, the last video I made was about spiritual warfare. I know I can't be the only one going through it, but I mean, my brothers and sisters I see on here, we're all talking about it right now, how Hasatan is coming against us, you know, heavier than ever before. I mean, I feel like I've been more obedient and trying to be more obedient than ever before. I've been fasting to the point where I come to work, I do my job, I don't talk to anybody really. You know what I mean? I'm not even answering the phone. My family and stuff is calling me just because lately people that are even super close to me, I feel like have been turning on me, or conflicts that I've been trying to avoid have just been happening. People that I've stopped talking to and cut out of my life lately as I've been fasting and seeking Yah more than ever before, have been giving me phone calls, sending me text messages, you know. And something that I think that is supernatural is it's not necessarily what happens, it's the timing. It's the timing of certain things that happen to let you know that it's spiritual warfare, right? You know, you decide to fast one day and some friend that you cut off years ago decides to be like, "Hey, I was thinking about you." Nah, man, I'm not walking back into that, you know? So shout out to someone who encourages me, and I watch a lot of his videos here on TikTok, Spence the Meek One. I actually, the day that I had the dream, the next morning, I messaged him because when I was watching his videos, I heard that he's the only one that I know of that talks about the land being in Saudi Arabia.
So I'm not going to play it all the way through for the sake of time because we got a lot of things to discuss tonight. But do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat if you resonate with what that brother was saying, just in terms of what he was talking about with the spiritual warfare, the wanting, the desiring, the being more obedient now than you've ever been before. Like if you can resonate with where he's coming from, because like when I saw his video, man, it was just like it just ministered to me so much. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I get you, man. I get you. I am 100% there. I feel you, right? I mean, seriously, it's like when I was, in the Christian church, I'm not going to say that I wasn't trying to live right, because I was, right? I believe so many of us were, but there's just something different about this time where it's just like the warfare has increased, but the desire to be set apart has also increased. And I'm telling you, it's just when he said what he said, it just stirred in my spirit. Welcome, servant of Yah. Welcome to the channel. We're glad to have you here. Praise Yah. Yes, indeed. We are the family of Yasharah, who is my mother, my sister, and my brothers, right? Those who do the will of my Father in heaven. And that's what we're talking about. So the other thing that stood out to me with what he said was what he talked about, the Arabic nations. Now, I'm going to share my own dream with y'all, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So, about, I would say, more than 10 years ago, it was probably closer to about 13 years ago, I had a dream. And I want y'all to understand that 13 years ago, I didn't know who we were. I did not know that we were the people of the book. Okay. So this dream was so perplexing to me that it literally stayed on my heart for years. I still think about this dream to this day. Okay. But about 13 years ago, I had a dream that I went to my mom because I was trying to get her advice about where I could get a couch. And she had told me about a shop that I can go and check out. And so I went to that shop, and I was asking the woman who was in the store if she could give me a couch, because my mom had recommended the store to me. And the woman who was attending me, she looked at me and she said, "You don't need a couch." And I'm like, "I beg your pardon?" She's like, you don't need a couch because you're getting ready to leave." And I'm like, "Get ready to leave? To go where?" And she said that I was going to go to Turkey. And I'm like, "Turkey? Why Turkey?" And all the person's dream said was, "It's better to be there than in Babylon." And the next thing I know, I see myself like saying goodbye to my mom, and then going to the airport. Now, at the time, I was living in South Florida. So I saw myself going to Fort Lauderdale Airport. And then I woke up. And I did not understand that at all. And there are parts of it that still, like, in my heart and my mind, I'm like, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure that that would be akin to something along the lines of Exodus out, right? Of the Babylonian place that I was at, which in my dream I knew was America. Okay. So, like I said, I didn't know that we were the people of the book, but I also didn't know that in Turkey is Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark rests. And Noah's Ark is a place of safety, a place for the righteous to dwell safely when the Most High is judging the wickedness of the earth. And so I don't know that Turkey was symbolic. And I believe that the couch was symbolic for comfort, right? I was looking for a place of comfort, but you don't need it, right? Because you're going to go over there. And so, again, we're going to talk tonight a lot about symbology, okay? Because I believe that when people are getting dreams, and even when we're reading a lot of the text, and Brother Yacoba spoke about this a lot, that there's a lot of symbology that we're seeing. And we need to have the interpretation from the Ruach to help us to understand how to break down the symbology, okay? So when I was covering this text, when I was covering this subject, if you will, I began to notice that there were 4 patterns with all of the scriptures that I uncovered. All right. And these are the 4 patterns. Number 1, I saw that the second Exodus and us moving, right, being regathered, if you will, was one about punishment and cleansing. All right. Punishment and cleansing. And I'll break down all of these. 2, by the way, this message will be a decent amount of time discussing all of these things. 2, safety in the wilderness. Okay, that's another thing that I saw. 3, only a remnant goes to the land. All right, only a remnant. And 4, it seems to coincide with the second coming. Now, some of you might be like, huh? Coincide with the second coming? Well, we're going to discuss it. So let's discuss first punishment and cleansing. We're going to look up the passages that pertain to punishment and cleansing. All right, we're going to be reading a lot of text tonight. So I hope that you are ready. Hope you're ready to dig in, because like I said, it's going to be pretty meaty. All right. Let's go ahead to Isaiah 20. All right. Let me move this off the screen. Isaiah 20. Excuse me, Ezekiel 20, not Isaiah 20. Okay. So in Ezekiel 20, this is the passage that most clearly talks about us being gathered, right? And I want to go ahead and read it, and then I want to show you some things about what I saw. So verse 5 says, and say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, in the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into the land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes. And y'all have to really look at this text, because we're talking about how Yahuwah is dealing with character, okay? And defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. But they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abomination of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Okay? So he poured his fury out against the children of Israel while they were in the land of Egypt. Okay? He's telling you that his wonders included pouring his fury out towards Israel in the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahuwah that sanctified them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. So first he poured out his fury in Egypt. And then he turns around and pours out his fury again in the wilderness, right? Do y'all see what I'm saying when I say about this whole thing of punishment and cleansing? All right. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands, because they despised my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and hallow my Sabbaths. And they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbaths. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. So now we're dealing with a whole different set of people here. Okay? Because he says, now I'm dealing with their children. So this is 3 times he says that he poured out his fury. He poured out his fury when the children of Israel were in Egypt. Then he poured out his fury while they were in the wilderness as a collective. Then he said, I'm talking to the younger generation and they still ain't listening. So I got to pour my fury out on them. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my namesake that I should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries. Again, I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries. You hear that? In the wilderness, he made that decision. Because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire all that opened the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am Yahuwah. So he's bringing all of this calamity, all of this hardship, all of this fury, all of this punishment, so that Israel might understand who he is and follow him. He gives them up to lying spirits, deceit. He's saying, I gave them statutes that were no good and judgments whereby they should not live, right? Because that's what they really want. They don't want me. They want all of these things that are really going to destroy them. And I keep trying to get them to understand that these things are destroying them, but they keep doing their own thing, their own will. Verse 27, therefore, son of man, speak unto the house of Israel and say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed against me, and that they have committed a trespass against me. For when I had brought them into the land for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they offered their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor and poured out their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, what is the high place whereunto you go? And the name whereof called Bamah unto this day. Wherefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, are you polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? For when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. Verse 33, as I live, saith Yahuwah Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they are sojourned, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. Y'all see that? They shall not enter into the land of Israel. Oh, I'll take them out of the country where they're sojourned, but they're not going to enter the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, go ye, serve ye every one of his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more, with your gifts and with your idols. For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Yahuwah Elohim, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land serve me. There I will accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and I will be sanctifying you before the heathen. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah Elohim, when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for which I lifted my hand to give it to your fathers. And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings wherein you have been defiled, and you shall loathe yourself in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, saith Yahuwah Elohim. So you see right there. You know, Yah's word is so beautiful, because when you really dissect it, you hear the heart of a father. You hear the heart of a father to his children. How many times am I going to tell you? How many times do we have to go over this? I don't care if Billy Bob and Sue are walking off the bridge. You ain't going with them. Oh, you think you might be going with them, but you ain't going with them. You know that old saying, well, if your friends are going to jump off a bridge, are you going to go with them? Because you think that you have a right to, because everybody else is doing it. See, that's how we live as Israel. Everyone else is doing it. And he says, nah, bro. No, you can't go to that party. That party is not intended for you. So let's jump into Jeremiah 16. If you're enjoying this, do me a favor and put a 1 in chat. Thank you for those of you who have given so far. I will acknowledge you properly towards the end. Jeremiah 16, verse 11. We're still dealing with number 1, which is punishment and cleansing, okay? Because this text is so very important, all right? Okay, so Jeremiah 16, recompense Israel for his sins. Let me make sure I got it pulled up here for y'all to see it. Perfect. Then shall they say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahuwah, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law, and ye have done worse than your fathers. Let me repeat that. And you have done worse than your fathers. For behold, you walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Yahuwah is looking at this generation. He's saying, y'all, I mean, I thought y'all daddies was bad, but y'all done took the cake. No diddy, y'all done took the cake. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all worse than your fathers ever were. Therefore, I will cast you out of this land into a land that you know not. Neither you nor your fathers, and there shall you serve other gods, day and night, where I will not show you favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah lives that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahuwah lives that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands whither ye have driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Now, that is the scripture that a lot of people are referring to and said, people ain't even be talking about the first Exodus, right? It ain't gonna be discussed anymore, because when I do what I'm getting ready to do, that's going to be a distant memory. This is going to be so great. Okay. He says, behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahuwah, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled my inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. He says here, and first I will recompense their iniquity, right? And first, that's this first priority, is to recompense iniquity. This is something that really, and listen, family, when I put this together, when I really put this whole pretty bow on this thing, you're going to understand. So if you are not, you know what, I'm going to save that part. Understand what he's saying. There will be recompense to be dealt with. That's first. Jeremiah 30. The word came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying, thus speaketh Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, saying, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahuwah. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. I want to pause right there, because matter of fact, I'm going to go down to verse 10, and I'm going to say something. But they shall serve Yahuwah their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahuwah. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Now I want to show you here, the yoke, break the yoke from off thy neck. And this word here, captivity. Now, last week or 2 weeks ago, when I was discussing the first thing of what the second Exodus is not, and I was talking a lot about the so-called state of Israel. And, you know, when I think about the amount of time I spent in church where pastors did not discuss any of these verses, like, do me a favor. If you were privy to many of these verses when you were in church, put a 1 in the chat. If you were not privy, if pastors did not really discuss these verses, put a 2 in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm going to explain where my position is while I was reading this. Break the yoke off your neck. Captivity. The reason why I believe that many of these scriptures were not dissected, were not broken down, is because when you read them, it's clear that you can't be talking about no Eastern European convert. It's very clear you can't talk about it. Because my question is, when did the Ashkenazi Jewish people ever go into captivity? When did they go into captivity? When did they have yokes of iron around their neck? It didn't happen. So the thing that they cleave to the most is the Holocaust. Oh, during the Holocaust when Israel was persecuted. Well, the Holocaust that lasted for several years was not slavery. Let me repeat that again. For those of you who did not hear the first message, and I implore you to listen to the first message. But the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, not to be confused with the Congolese Holocaust, which lasted much longer and was much more severe. Many more lives were destroyed. But it was not slavery. So when you see words like captivity, yoke around their neck, this is why these scriptures weren't brought out, because it is evidence that it can't be talking about these people have been propped up to be the Yahudim. It's talking about someone else. Let's continue. Verse 11. For I am with thee, saith Yahuwah, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered you. Yet I will not make a full end of you, but I will correct you in measure, and will not leave you altogether unpunished. Are we seeing a pattern here? Are we seeing a pattern here? I mean, listen, like I said, we got to approach the scriptures with great humility because we got to dissect a lot. But we're looking for patterns. When I look at the word, it's like a big puzzle. And I don't know about y'all, but when I was growing up, I couldn't stand puzzles. I just couldn't stand them. Puzzles are just like, they're so complicated. I'm like, the only puzzles I like were word searches. Like you put a word search to this day in front of me, I'm like, yeah, right. I love word searches, but puzzles with pictures and stuff and putting stuff, my head hurts. But when you're dissecting the scripture, it's like dissecting a word puzzle. So I enjoy it actually, and I'm grateful for it. But you're taking from all these different parts to build a story, seeing patterns that are saying the same thing over and over again through different prophets. I had someone the other day and was talking about Muhammad and And what's that book? The Quran, and oh, the Bible's been tampered with, and the Quran is holy. And first off, the Quran was written by one man. Okay, the Bible, even if you take canon, the canonized version, 66 books, was written by multiple men, right, through different dispensations of time. And yet these men all were telling their part of the same story. Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, okay, Jehochanan and the book of Revelation, Daniel, they were all telling the same story. The Most High wanted to make it clear what he was saying, but he was doing it through symbology, and he was doing it over time so that people would understand that this was not a book from that man inspired, but it was a book that he inspired. It was a text that he inspired. He was the one who inspired them to understand what his plans were. So what we're doing is we're putting the puzzle pieces together. All right, let's dig into the next text. That's in Ezekiel 36, verse 24. Y'all enjoying this so far? If you haven't given a thumbs up, please do so. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries and will bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit with you in you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. I will also save you from all your uncleannesses, and I will call for the corn, and will increase it and lay no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field, that you shall receive no more reproach of famine among the heathen. Then shall you remember that your own evil ways and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and for your abominations. Doesn't that sound like Ezekiel 20? Then you're going to see all your wicked ways and go, oh my goodness, I was horrible. Not for your sakes do I this, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Be it known unto you, be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, in the day that I shall have cleansed you from all your iniquities, I will also cause you to dwell in the cities, and the waste shall be builded, and the desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that passed by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate has become like the Garden of Eden. And the waste and desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and are inhabited. Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahuwah, build the ruined places and plant that was desolate. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it, and I will do it. Again, cleansing. I'm going to sprinkle water on you. I'm going to sprinkle water on you. I'm going to cleanse you. Last verse before we move on to part 2, Ezekiel chapter 11. I just really feel like it's so important to cover all these texts, because by 2 or more witnesses are every truth established. And we do see through a glass half darkly. We're seeing through a glass half darkly. So praise Yah for giving us revelation, but we don't have the whole picture. So we're doing the best that we can to go in with his inspiration, with his leading, and to dissect the text. Son of man, thy brethren, even thy brethren, the men of thy kindred, and all the house of Israel, holy are they unto whom the inhabitants of Jerusalem have said, get you far from Yahuwah, unto us is this land given in possession. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Put a pin in that, because I'm going to talk about that. Yet I will be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Therefore say, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel, and they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart of flesh, and I will give them a heart of flesh, that they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. But as for them whose heart walks after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their own heads, saith Yahuwah Elohim. Then did the cherubims lift up their wings, and the wheels beside them, and the glory of Elohim of Israel was over them above. Interesting. Remember what the guy said earlier? The cherubim, the angels, the wheels beside them, lifting up. And the glory of Yahuwah went up from the midst of the city and stood upon the mountain, which is on the east side of the city. Afterwards, the Spirit took me up and brought me in a vision by the Spirit of Elohim into Chaldea. What is Chaldea? Chaldea is the ancient name for Babylon. Chaldea is where Abraham was called out of. So afterwards, the Spirit took me up and brought me in a vision by the Spirit of Elohim into Chaldea, to them of the captivity. So the vision that I had seen went up from me. Then I spake unto them of the captivity, all the things that Yahuwah had showed me. Meaty information concerning how the Most High is going to deal with the Yahudim and Ephraim. It's going to be in cleansing. That's one of the first things we see. That's one of the first priorities that we see is for punishment and cleansing. Why? Because he wants a ecclesia. He wants an assembly that is without spot or wrinkle. So let's go ahead and jump into number 2, safety in the wilderness, safety. Now, I share with y'all a plethora of scriptures concerning this cleansing, but there's not a plethora of scriptures concerning safety. And there's a reason for that we're going to talk about tonight. So let's go to Revelation chapter 3. Y'all are very familiar with it. We in the Israelite community is one of the first verses Yahuwah has showed us, right, concerning who we are versus who them folk are, right? So let's start off in verse 7. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength, and have kept my word, and have not denied my name. Let me pause right there really quickly. How many of y'all have a little strength? How many of you? For one in the chat, do you have a little strength? Do you feel like getting through the day can be the most challenging thing that you've done? Like when you were young, you had all this energy, but since you've gotten older, since you have been able to ascertain who you are, getting through the day is that much more challenging. Okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Listen, bro. Now you know I know. Okay, shout out Tail Ministries. Getting through the day, right? I'm telling you, it is challenging. It is tough. You got a little bit of strength. Listen, y'all think, even now, y'all think I'm over here like I'm full of strength. Let me tell y'all something. Listen, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I can't live without worship. I mean, literally. I don't mean figuratively. I mean, literally, I cannot live without worship. I don't either, bro. I don't either know how I'm still standing. Okay? Because I can't get through my day without worshiping. Yeah. The warfare is so heavy and so intense that I could take Tylenol and it does nothing. And I know, wait a minute, this ain't physical, it's spiritual. It's got to be spiritual because, and I think that we can relate to that, right? Okay? A playlist of songs. You understand what I'm saying? I have to make a habitation, a holy habitation of worship to the Most High. to get through my day because the warfare is just that intense. We have but a little strength. There's not much. You don't even argue the way you used to argue anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember you used to have all that fire in your chest? You know what I'm saying? You used to be like, what? Say something. You feeling froggy? Go ahead and leave. Now they be froggy and you be like, man, you can have it. You go ahead. You go ahead. I can't even meet you. I can't even go there with you. I'm tired. Go ahead. It's all you, fam. You got it, bro. It's all good. I'm telling you, when you have a little strength, you got to preserve what you got. You got to preserve what I know. That's right. This it right here. This is. I'm gonna put this on a t-shirt. Peace is my new currency. I don't even got time for it. I be just trying to mind my business. You understand what I'm saying? I be trying to mind my business because I'm like, listen, y'all didn't even understand. I don't got it like that no more. I don't got it like that no more. To y'all be the glory. Y'all, let me get back to the text. All right. So we understand having a little strength, but yet keeping his word and not denying his name. Now, I'm not coming for those of you who during the pandemic, you were afraid and you took part in the lollipop. But I'm going to tell you that my personal account is that everyone in my family took it except me and my nucleus. Okay. And I remember when people in my family first started taking it, and it was just like, I was baffled. I was like, oh, you know, and a lot of us, you know, we were putting out videos at that time. We didn't know if it was the MOB. We didn't know what was going on, but all we knew was that something wasn't right. Something was fishy. And I know that during that time that I had to keep his word, especially, right? I lived by that principle that said, whether I live or die, I will serve the Most High. That was how I had to literally live. Almost losing my life, literally, because I was standing on my faith that Yah was going to get me through without having to put the solution in my arm. He was going to get my family through. And praise be unto him, he did. Because he meets you where you're at in your faith. So if your faith is little, he can increase it. But he'll meet you where you're at. So you haven't denied his name. You've kept his word. Verse 9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before your feet and to know that I have loved you. Because we feel so unloved as a people. That resonates with us so much because we are the most unloved people in the world. It's just, it is what it is. Anybody can argue with it and say, oh, you guys are in the victim Olympics. You know, no, we're not in the victim Olympics. We're in the victim war, right? Because this is a war. It's unfortunate that it's so much war against us just because spiritually who we are. Not even solely about the melanin in our skin. It's because of who we are. Verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world, all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Now that's the passage specifically in verse 10 that we're looking at. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcomes will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. And he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is, check this out, New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim. And I will write upon him my new name. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the ecclesia. Okay? Y'all put a pin in some of these passages because you're going to see me talking about them again. You're going to see me referencing certain parts like New Jerusalem, overcoming, making a pillar in the temple. So let's jump into Revelation 12. Revelation 12. Now, many of us know we talk about this passage a lot, but I really want to hone in on these specific verses, okay? Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth a man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. Now, like I said, y'all do yourselves a favor. Go check out Brother Yacoba on the 42 months. I think he had some meaty, very meaty information in there. Excellent information. And I think just, one of the things that I really appreciate about their ministry is that they're not afraid to push the envelope. They're not afraid to think on a different level, not to just go in the direction that everybody else is saying it's supposed to be, right? So when we're on this journey, we're on a learning journey, right? And I'm grateful for all of the delivery that comes because it gives us a chance to really meditate on some things. So for me, when I listened about the 42 weeks, my mind went into exactly what Brother Yacoba said in terms of the symbology of it. Okay? Time, and half a time, the symbology of it. Verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Again, symbology. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Again, symbology. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. So these are the 2 passages that you're going to see that could speak to a place of safety, if you will, a place of refuge, if you will. But that's all I found. If you find more text, by all means, feel free to email me and share. Those are the ones I found. Now let's jump into number 3. Number 3 is only a remnant enters the promised land. Because I did not see an intense focus so much on the wilderness, is what I'm saying. I didn't see this intense focus on them. I saw so much focus here. Only a remnant enters into the promised land. Let's go ahead and get into that text. So we're going to start with Isaiah 59, okay? Because one of the things that Apostle Curtis, when he was on, shout out to Apostle Curtis, talked about is that, remember that the scriptures, we have chapters and verses today, but that's not really how the scrolls were written. So when you see that a letter has been written, when you see that there's text that has been written and they put chapter here, chapter there, that doesn't mean you don't go back into the previous chapter for context, right? So context is really king. That's what we're looking for, is what is the context of what is getting ready to be shared, because we're going to jump into Isaiah 60. But let's look at contextually what's going on in Isaiah 59 first. Okay, so Isaiah 59, this entire passage is talking about Yahuwah, again, being angry with the children of Israel. This entire passage, I'm not going to read the entire passage, okay? Just going to read this part right here. But he's angry with the children of Israel. And he's talking about what I'm going to do. And, I'm going to deliver my people. And here we go right here, verse 20. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahuwah. Now, I want y'all to be aware that we're getting ready to go into the ships of Tarshish. Okay, because remember I said there's 3 modes of transportation. So the ships of Tarshish is what we're getting ready to go into. All right. So again, verse 20, the Redeemer shall come to Zion, which means a parched land or parched city, something along those lines. And unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahuwah. As for me, this is my covenant with them. Now remember Ezekiel 20, and I'm not going to go back there. I just want y'all to remember that he said that the covenant is what he is going to restore in them. So now he's telling you what his covenant is. He says, my spirit that is upon you and my words which I have put in your mouth shall not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed's seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. That's the covenant. My word, my spirit that's upon you, and my words which I put in your mouth, they're not going to depart from you. You're not going to go wayward again, because you will have it there so deeply intertwined in your heart, you won't have a desire to turn away from me. Now, let's see if you make sure y'all can see verse 60. Okay, very good. So now let's jump into Isaiah 60, ships of Tarshish. And again, the pattern that we're talking about seeing is only a remnant goes into the land. And y'all need to be aware that pattern 3 and pattern 4, the timeline seems to indicate that the regathering coincides with the second coming of Yahusha. Okay, so you're going to see 3 and 4 intertwined a lot, even in this passage. Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of Yahuwah is risen upon you. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahuwah shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen upon you. So verse 2, he's showing you contrast between the darkness that's going to cover the earth and the people of the earth. But upon you, remember the context before was in Isaiah 59, the Redeemer coming for Zion. And then the turn away from transgression in Jacob. So he's talking about Jacob versus the world. Okay? The world, darkness. Jacob, glory. Verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see. All they gather themselves together. They come to you. Your son shall come from afar, and your daughter shall be nursed at your side. Then you shall see and flow together, and your heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto you. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto you. The multitudes of camels shall cover you. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Yahuwah. Now, Sheba, let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it. All they from Sheba will come unto you. Let's take a quick look at that. So Strong's says Sheba, which is H7614, means 7 or an oath. Now they talk about the son of Joktan, the son of Rama, the son of Jokshan, but in 4, they say a nation in southern Arabia. Very interesting. Thought that was very interesting, especially with that guy who was talking about the Middle East, right? Northeast Africa, essentially. Sheba, the name of 3 early progenitors of tribes and of an Ethiopian district. Sheba. Now look here. Do you see that word there? I'm going to zoom in as much as I can so you can see there. Sabians. Sabians. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? Well, last time I saw that, that was in Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3, talking about selling our enemies to the Sabians. So who are the Sabians? Britannica defines the Sabians as a member of a people of South Arabia in pre-Islamic times, founders of the kingdom of Sabah, the biblical Sheba. Although it is uncertain when exactly the Sabians first settled the region, their kingdom is known from ancient times from cuneiform inscriptions of Mesopotamia, as well as their South Semitic inscriptions. The earliest mention of the Sabians was in the Assyrian annals of the late 8th and early 7th centuries BCE, although some scholars date Sabian inscriptions to about the 6th century BCE. They were responsible for impressive constructions, both cultic and irrigational, including the greatest part of what is now visible of the dam in Marib. However, there are traces of earlier dam works, and the silt deposits indicate agricultural exploitation far back in prehistory. So the Sabians, from what this reference indicates, are the founders of biblical Sheba. Okay? So those of us who are kind of trying to figure out who are the Sabians, we got a reference right there. We have a reference. Joel chapter 3, we know. Verse 8 tells us that our oppressors will be sold into our hand, and that we will sell our oppressors to the Sabians. Okay? Let's continue in Isaiah 60. Trying to take my time here. It's a lot to cover. Verse 8. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows? Who are these that fly as a cloud and their doves to their windows? Now you'll notice that verse 8 says fly, and yet verse 9 talks about ships. Let's read it. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. But verse 8 was talking about flying. So again, we should automatically recognize that the language is symbolic and not literal. This verse is giving a symbolic description of a physical prophetic reality. We should consider that when we examine Revelation 12. And I say that because let's take a look at Exodus 19, at the original Exodus, at the first Exodus. Exodus 19, verse 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now, it says, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which I'll speak unto the children of Israel. But we know, how many of us know that the children of Israel went on foot? They went on foot. Cloud by day, fire by night, cloud by day. They went on foot. Okay? But yet the language symbology is, I will carry them on eagle's wings. So again, we have to understand that there is a lot of symbology when it comes to the text. Now, do I believe that we'll be taking on literal ships? Absolutely. I believe that. That's a possibility. The way that we're taken from our land is very much a possibility in the way in which we will return. But let's continue in the text in Isaiah 60. I just want to break a lot of these things down as we're looking at them. So when we're observing the text, again, I said, I'm going to give it to you and then you can mull over it. But we're breaking it down so that we're taking it piece by piece and bringing it before Yahuwah and saying, help me to understand that. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore your gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise you shall bow themselves down to the soles of your feet, and they shall call you the city of Yahuwah, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas you has been forsaken and hated so that no man went through you, I will make you an external excellency, a joy of many generations. You shall also suck the milk of Gentiles and shall suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I, Yahuwah, am thy Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Wow. Wow. That passage is thick. I'm not done with that passage yet because I told you it's intertwined. I'm not done with that passage yet. I just want to show you again contextually what we're looking at. Where two or more witnesses, by the mouth of two or more witnesses, shall every truth be established. So we're going to go to Zephaniah chapter 3. Somehow I actually got it wrong here, so let me just plug it in real quick before I give it to you. Zephaniah chapter 3. Okay. Verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring mine offering. In that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all your doings, wherein you have transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of you them that rejoice in your pride, and you shall no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of you an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Yahuwah. The remnant. Remember what I said before? Only a remnant goes into the land. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. For they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Sing, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all thy heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahuwah hath taken away your judgments. He hath cast out thine enemy. The King of Israel, even Yahuwah, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil any more. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear you not. And to Zion, let not your hands be slack. Yahuwah your Elohim in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over you with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over you with singing. I will gather them that are sorrowful of the solemn assembly, who are of you, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Behold, at that time, I will undo all that afflict you, and I will save her that halted, and gather her that was driven out. And I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. At that time, 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 again, at that time, will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you. For I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith Yahuwah. Y'all starting to see a pattern? I mean, I'm seeing it very clearly. Are you starting to see a pattern that the second Exodus, the regathering, the timeline of it is in concordance, coincides with the return of the Messiah? Maybe you don't see it as clearly yet, so I'm going to help you see it a little bit clearer. Isaiah 60. Let's go back there. Let's go back there. Because maybe this part will help you to understand where I'm coming from. For brass, I will bring gold, verse 17. And for iron, I will bring silver. And for wood, brass, and for stones, iron. I will also make your officers peace and your exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, wasting nor destruction within your borders. But you shall call your walls salvation and your gates praise. The sun shall be no more your light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto you, but Yahuwah shall be unto you an everlasting light, and your Elohim thy glory. Wait a minute up here. We were just talking about the ships of Tarshish bringing their sons and daughters from afar and silver and gold with them unto the name of Yahuwah, your Elohim, to the Holy One of Israel, because he glorified you. But now we're talking about the sun disappearing, the moon not giving us light, and that the Most High is going to be the everlasting light? Your sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself, for Yahuwah shall be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Your people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahuwah, will hasten it in time. That language, I've heard it before. Where have I heard that language before? That language was talking about the sun and the moon not giving its light. I heard that before in the book of Revelation. Let me pull it up. Somehow it escaped my notes. Just a second. Again, if y'all have not thumbed this up, do me a favor. Go ahead and do so. Go ahead and do so. Because these are the meaty scriptures. These are the meaty scriptures that we need. I apologize. I had this and I put the wrong verse in. So, all right. So we're going to go jump into Revelation 21. Revelation 21. All right. Because again, I said before, this is a puzzle. This is a puzzle. And we have the responsibility of putting this puzzle together as he gives us revelation. All right. So I want y'all to take a look here, because we just heard some interesting language. Verse 22. I did not see a temple in the city, because Yahuwah Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are its temple. That's a whole nother thing. The city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of Elohim gives its light, and the Lamb is its lamp. The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their splendor into it. On no day will its gates ever be shut, for there will be no night there. Didn't we just read that? I mean, is it me, or didn't I just read that in Isaiah 60? That the gates won't be shut. They'll stay open. There's no night there. In reference to the regathering, in the reference to him coming back for the children of Israel and gathering us. The glory and honor of the nations we brought into it. Nothing impure will ever enter it, nor will anyone who does what is shameful or deceitful, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life. No sun, no moon. The Most High is going to light it up. Did we not just read that? Let's take our time. Let's take our time when we're going through the scriptures. Verse 20, Isaiah. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself, for Yahuwah shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Right? Verse 11, therefore your gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Now, see, this is one of the reasons why I don't pay attention to people who are Torah only. This is one of the reasons. I don't give them energy. And the reason why I don't, and this is no shade, but the reason why I don't is because, see, I'm born again. Okay? And the reason why that's important is because you cannot properly understand the scriptures unless you are born again. He tells you that. He says that I will leave you the comforter, and his job is to lead and to guide you into all truth. He gives you light to the understanding of his word when you're born again. Before I was born again, it was all, man, it was all Spanglish. Okay? I couldn't understand nothing. But once I gave my life to the Savior, well before I knew who I was as an Israelite, the very morning, the next day, Oh, it wasn't a week or two or a month or a year later. No, it was the next day. It was like red pill or blue pill. Okay. And all of a sudden now I understood these words that I just could not understand. It was like, wow. See, these are discerned by the Spirit. By the Spirit do you discern the word. You don't discern it just by looking at the text and say, well, see, what I think it had meant was, and just using your common mind, your mental capacities and thinking, okay, that's enough to be able to digest the text. It's not enough. You need the indwelling Ruach to give you light to your path. He said his word is a light unto our path and a lamp unto our feet. But if you're not born again, then you're not going to get that light. You're not going to really be able to understand text. So when you see the New Testament, you're going to say, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Them heathen put the New Testament in there. That was not supposed to be there. The Apostle Paul, no. He's all wrong. Because you don't understand, because you have not submitted the first parts of you. The first parts of you is what he requires. Do we not see this over and over again, the pattern in the text over and over again? I am bringing a cleansing, a holy people. I'm going to purify you. I'm going to make you holy, clean. You're going to be holy. You're going to be clean. You're going to be clean. You're going to be holy. You're going to be holy. You're going to be clean. You're going to be clean. You're going to be holy. I mean, if it's not a sounding board over and 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 over again. So you got folk out here, and yeah, I'm going to throw a little bit of shade. But you got folk out here that are busy spending all of their time cursing the Gentiles and telling them how they're going to go to hell or captivity, and they need to kiss their feet, and they need to listen. What we need to understand is that our primary responsibility is making sure that we are counted worthy. That he did not reveal to us that we are the children of Israel so that we can go, hey, look at me now. I said, oh, look at me. He didn't do that. The responsibility of us understanding who we are as the children of Israel came so that we would understand that we are the covenant breakers. We're the ones that broke the covenant. We're the ones that rejected the Messiah. We're the ones that said, let his blood be on our heads and the heads of our descendants. And I say that for, especially for those who love to pray to the ancestors. Excuse me? I mean, listen, your ancestors left you a lot of trauma. They left you a lot of trauma. And I praise Yah for those among the ancestors that lived righteously. But so many of our ancestors, did we not read the text where he said, you were worse than your fathers? But you were here praying to the ancestors? What guidance are they going to give you? They couldn't even get it right when they were here. So what guidance are they going to give you? If you don't do anything, you need to be repenting for the ancestors, for what they did. Got you all kind of messed up. You're like, what did I inherit all of these problems? My. Because your daddy and your granddaddy and his granddaddy before him and his granddaddy before him had a hard heart. They were stubborn like a rock, stony heart. Can't nobody tell them nothing. The older we get, the harder it is for us to hear anyway. Get set in our ways. So the Most High is saying, I don't want you set in your ways, because that's what your forefathers did. I want to remove that heart of stone, and I want to give you a heart of flesh so that you understand my righteous requirement. Because the regathering is not going to be for an unholy people. This is another reason why, back to the Ashkenazis, I'm going to get back in the text, but I digress for a moment. This is another reason why, again, the Ashkenazi Jewish people in the state of Israel do not meet the qualifications of the children of Israel. Because they are, quite frankly, some of the most unholy people in the entire earth. They're identity thieves. They're liars. They're murderers. They're PDF files. They do so much iniquity, so many of the things that the Most High detest. And yet they sit there in their pride and believe they fooled him. My goodness. You can't fool you. You cannot fool Yah. All right. Let me get back to the text. So now we're going to talk about, y'all, what pattern are we on? Because I went off on a tangent for a minute. We're on pattern 3, right? The second coming. Okay, so now we're going to go to Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11. Again, I hope this is blessing y'all. I hope this is blessing y'all. Actually, before Isaiah 11, we're going to go back to Revelation chapter 3. Back to Revelation chapter 3 really quickly. We're going to look at verse 12 and 13 again. Him that overcomes will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. He that has an ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the ecclesia. All right. Now we're going to jump into Isaiah chapter 11. I'm building here. Isaiah 11. Verse 1, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the spirit of Yahuwah shall rest upon him, and the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahuwah, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Let's stop there. Let's stop there. Because we're going to cross-reference that. Another cross-reference. There's so many. There's so many. It's beautiful. Revelation chapter 19. The rod of his mouth. Brother Jacobo was talking about this in last week's message. Okay. Let's take a look. And I saw heaven opened. And behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of Almighty Elohim. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Adonai of Adoms. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that was wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that have received the MOB, and them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. We just read that, Isaiah 11, 1-4. The rod of his mouth. The rod of his mouth. This all happens, mind you. Let me show you. Revelation 18. After the fall of Babylon. After the fall of Babylon. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you may not partake of her sins, and that you receive not her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Elohim hath remembered her iniquities. See? You see how it all intertwines together? Come out of her, my people. As the fall of Babylon, he's taken the sword of his mouth, and there he is judging the nations. Let's read Isaiah again, Isaiah 11, chapter 11, verse 15. Excuse me, verse 5 through 16. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the sucking child shall play in the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. It's a big thing here. Holy mountain. Holy mountain. You're going to see it over and over again. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and its rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that, now here it is, verse 11, here's the part. I just read all that to you. Okay? Now verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. We just read up here, though, y'all, that cows and bears are going to be feeding together, young lions and fatlings together. Okay, a lion and a lamb, or a lamb and a leopard are going to lie down with the kid. Okay, the animal kingdom is not going to be looking like Nat Geo. It's not. It's going to be at peace. And he says, it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. This is what I'm talking about, the intertwining. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And Yahuwah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. Now this is the one by land. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it into 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. The context, fam. The context. The context is so key. It's everything. It is everything. Got a couple more passages. I appreciate y'all staying with me. I know it's a little late, but I appreciate y'all staying with me. So Matthew 24, the brother earlier in the video, he brought up this scripture. So let's take a look at it. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of your coming and of the end of the world? Pretty clear, okay? The sign of your coming and the end of the world. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceives you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, or ethnos against ethnos, which is ethnicity against ethnicity, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then, I'm saying, and then this is an order here. This is categorical order. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endures, that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then, after the gospel is preached, after the good news of the kingdom is preached to the world as a witness unto all the nations, then shall the end come. Let's jump down to verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is the Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he's in the desert, don't go. Behold, he's in the secret chamber, believe it not. For as the lightning comes out of the east and shines even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. I just read to y'all, wherever the carcass is, there will also the eagles be gathered together. Revelation chapter 19. 19, I believe it was. 19 or 21. It was 19. For those of you wondering what that passage is about, they're going to have a great feast. Now listen to verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened. Didn't we already hear that? And the moon shall not give her light. I'm pretty sure that sounds familiar. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. This was in Isaiah 60. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Hey, let me take a pause. If any of this is making sense to y'all, do me a favor and put some fire emojis up. I just want to know. If this is not making any sense to you, do me a favor and put some thumbs down. This is crazy. If you're feeling it, if it's hitting you right there, throw up them fire emojis. If you're like, man, this is some sauce, go ahead and give me some thumbs down. I'm not asking for fire emojis to feed my ego. I just really want to understand if y'all get it. If y'all are seeing what I'm seeing, look up Our Redemption Draws Nigh. I'll do that. Okay. Seem like some of y'all get, okay, decent amount of y'all getting it. I mean, listen. Like I said, when I went through a lot of this stuff, I was scratching my head. I was absolutely scratching my head. I was just like, huh? That's crazy. That's loco. That's wild. This is probably one of the most, like, this passage, this study has perplexed me probably more than a lot of studies I've done. And I didn't think it would. I really didn't think it would. So again, we're going to go back to Revelation 3. And then we're going to go to Revelation 21, verse 10 and 11, because I kind of want y'all to see something that I saw again. All praises to y'all. All praises to y'all. Glad y'all are getting it. Shout out to all of you. Again, remember, I'll keep you from the hour of trial that will come upon the whole world. But then he says here in verse 12 something that just kind of I just didn't understand it. Okay, you're going to keep me from the hour of trial. But then verse 12 you say, but he that overcomes, I will make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim, and he shall no more go out. Overcome what? I thought you could take me out. And I will write upon him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. New Jerusalem. Revelation 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them and be their Elohim. And Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, it is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things. And I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. For the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable and the murderers, and the whoremongers and sorcerers, idolaters and liars, they shall have their part in the lake of fire, which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Okay? And then he goes in to talk about the holy city. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, come hither, I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain. Again, I told y'all, high mountain. Saw it all through the Old Testament. You see it again here in the book of Revelation. And showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of what? The 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Hallelujah. On the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and then the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gate thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is large as the breadth. And he measured the city with a reed, 12,000 furlong. The length and the breadth of the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall, it was jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the fountains of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones: jasper, sapphire, chalcedony, emerald, sardonyx, and sardius, and chrysolite, beryl, topaz, chrysoprasus, jacinth, and amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, and it was as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahuwah Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. Man. And again, the sun. The city had no need of sun, neither the moon shine out, for the glory of Elohim delighted in the Lamb is the light there. So you want to know what them gates they was talking about in Isaiah 60 was about? It was about that. It was about the children of Israel. Children of Israel. Praise Yah. I'm wrapping it up soon. Praise Yah. Ezekiel 37. The hand of Yahuwah was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of Yahuwah, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. I'm not going to read that. Y'all know what that's about. Dry bones of Ezekiel's vision. I'm going to read verse 22 down to 28. Because you know that the dry bones of Ezekiel come together, of Ezekiel's vision come together, Judah and Ephraim. He says, and I will make them one nation in the land upon, again, the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahuwah, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Praise Yah. So here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts. That's a lot. It's a lot to dissect. And I showed you all 4 patterns that I saw. 4 patterns. The punishment and cleansing, safety in the wilderness. Only a remnant goes into the land, which coincides with the second coming. So these are my thoughts. I once thought that the wilderness was going to be a place similar to how the first wilderness was, where our ancestors were there for 40 years. Some scholars say it was an 11-day journey to the promised land, but because of the hard-headedness of the children of Israel, it took them 40 years. I don't see it that way anymore. I always would get stumped on the whole thing about the wilderness of the people. And especially that aspect of safety. Flying on eagle's wings, the symbology of it. And when Brother Yacoba talked about the 42 months and talked about the symbology of that, it made so much sense to me. Now, we haven't necessarily come to the same conclusion about what the 42 months are, but I love the fact that we're journeying and we're trying our best to try to figure this out. I shared with him tonight that I looked at the 42 months as 40 being a representation of the number of completeness, and 2 being the number of division, 40 and 2. And that we as a people are going to be complete and divided from the Babylonian system of this world. And so what I'm seeing more so, and let me know if you kind of see it in this direction. If you don't, that's okay. But I'm seeing that who you are today, let's say his coming is next week. I'm not date setting. Okay? I'm giving an example. Who you are today is what's being tried in the fire. Have you felt alone? Have you felt like you're on an island all by yourself in the midst of a lot of people? I mean, you go to the grocery store, you go to your job, you go to the park, you go and hang out with your family and family reunions, and yet you feel a little bit alone. You don't feel like you fit in, right? All the time. You feel kind of like you're in a wilderness of people. Lots of people. Lots of people. But yet they don't understand you. You've been where they are. They think you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Right? Feel like that, right? Surrounded by sleepwalking zombies. My goodness, the amount of zombie dreams I've had. I don't even watch zombie movies. Here's my position. I think that we're dealing with a lot of symbology. And the refinement is now. Who you are today is who you're going to be. Who you are as you're being tried and tested today is who you are becoming. That's why there are some people that gravitate and say, let me go and listen to ministry. Let me go and understand the word. Let me go. This is what I want to do. It is 11:36 at night, and I'm not watching the basketball game. I'm not watching some sports. I'm not entertaining myself with some movie. I am studying the word. I want to know the scriptures. You're weird. Like, do you realize how weird you are? Like, you are like really weird. You're like what the Bible says. You're peculiar. Yeah, they call us cray-cray. That's weird. In this world, to not want to be entertained by this world, but you are hungry for Yah's word. And you're going through a lot. I asked y'all earlier, do you ever feel worn out, tired, a little bit of strength? But it doesn't stop you. The tiredness, the exhaustion, the warfare, it doesn't pull you away from Yah's word. If anything, it makes you go even deeper into his word. If anything, it makes you go even further into your Father's arm. If anything, you're seeing Psalm 91 over yourself and you're saying, they that dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's what you're saying. You're like, oh, Papa, please. You're being refined. Oh, don't believe me? Okay. Let's go on the scripture. Because you know what? It all sounds good and all well. But you know, you should know me by now. I need to have some text. Because we can feel a whole lot of things, right? But what does the word say? Does it verify? Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. I could be wrong. This looked like 666 to me. I'm just saying. So Harold cried aloud. Jewett has commanded all people, nations, languages. At the time that you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, all that music, what you gonna do? You're gonna fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. And whoever don't fall down and don't worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning, fiery furnace. Now, see, most people in their right mind, self-preservation, survival of the fittest. Shout out to Darwin. Yeah, I'm playing on that. For those of you who don't know, I'm playing, okay? Tongue in cheek. Most people will say, look, I burned myself on the pot last week. My arm was hurting me for 3 days. You're talking about casting my entire body into fire? Nah, bro, I'm good. Go ahead. What you playing? You playing some Travis Scott? What you got? What you got? What you got? You got some Jay-Z? What you got? I mean, come on, bring it. Nah, you got some Kendrick Lamar, what? They not like us. They not like us, right? Whatever you playing, I'm bowing down to. Whatever you playing. Okay? But not certain Jews. Not certain Jews. These ones that were in the same captivity with everybody else, they was a little different. Just a little bit different, just a little bit. Verse 12 says, there are certain Jews who you set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. Now, it was very interesting because these particular Jews, they had high rank in the government. They were in captivity. It was like, it didn't matter though, because of their excellent spirits. They were put into the high rank of the Babylonian government, which ruled the entire world, by the way, at that time. We know them as Shadrach, Meshach, and a bad Negro, or their real names, Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah. These men, O king, have not regarded you. They serve not your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. So Nebuchadnezzar was pretty upset about that. He was like, say what? Okay, now you're going to have to bring them to me. Why y'all ain't serving my gods? Why aren't you bowing down when the music plays? So this was their response. They said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer you in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king." Now, I want y'all to understand this in real time. Let's not storybook this. You're standing in front of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump says, they made a song for me, and they said that I was their savior, and I'm expecting you now to sing the song and bow down. And if you don't, I'm going to put you before the firing squad, right? And you got to stand in front of Donald Trump now. Or for those of you who think this is political, you got to stand in front of Kamala Harris, whichever one you want, in real time. Look them in their face and say, if it be so, our Elohim, who we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, even if he don't, be it known unto you, O king, regardless, we ain't gonna serve your gods. We ain't gonna worship your golden image that you set up. I mean, you gotta have some real boldness. Like that righteous, bold as a lion type boldness. So you know Nebuchadnezzar wasn't too happy about that. He was full of fury. And his face changed against them three Hebrew boys. So he commanded that the heat of the furnace should be turned up 7 times hotter than it was already. Matter of fact, it was so hot that when they got ready to throw them into the furnace, the people who was getting ready to throw them into the furnace, they burned up. But they weren't even in the furnace. It was just so hot. The outside, they burned up. So these 3 men who were thrown into the furnace fell down, bound. They were also bound in the middle of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound in the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, y'all, I see 4 men loose. They're walking in the midst of the fire. I mean, they went in there bound up, and now they're walking in the midst of the fire. Another one in there with them. And they're not in pain. They're not hurt. The form of the 4th. That 4th one that I don't even know where he came from. It's like the son of Elohim. Woo-wee! Wow. Wow. Hmm. 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 Well, y'all know how that story goes. He pulled him out and he was like, okay, my bad. uh, Nobody can come against your Elohim. Matter of fact, let's flip the script. Instead of everybody worshiping my image, how about we worship the most high Elohim? All the nations came to the glory of Israel because three men in the midst of the persecution and the testing that came upon the whole world, that they were spared and saved while in the midst of the tribulation. And it helped me to see Revelation 3 in a whole different light. He can save us right where we're at. He can protect us right where we're at. He can refine us right where we're at. And when he's ready for us, it's going to be glorious. And the tables will switch. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, bless Yah, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. I know that you're perplexed. I know that you're frustrated. I know you're tired. I know you're weary. But he's giving us revelation, and that's a blessing. It's a blessing for him to share his glorious word and truth with us so that we might continue to press toward the mark of the high calling. The regathering, the second Exodus, it will be glorious. I see him purging out the rebels from among us quickly, purging out the rebellion from us quickly, so that we're ready, so that we're prepared to inherit what he really has for us. New Jerusalem, which comes down from heaven. Well, y'all, that's all I have. That's all I have tonight. And like I said, this was a lot. This was a lot. Chew the meat, spit out the bone. It's a lot to dissect. And I pray that I have been able to deliver this word with carefulness, attention to detail, but most important, by the anointing and leading of the Ruach HaKodesh. I pray that you are blessed tonight. Hallelujah. I want to thank all of you for coming in. I want to give a shout out to those of you, especially who have donated. Thank you so much. When you give, it blesses me, my family, and the work that I'm called to do. I appreciate you taking the time to do what you do. So I'm going to give a shout out to Sister Cynthia, who says, if you miss giving $10 on 1010, it's not too late to give to support the work, fam. Much love. Shout out to Sister Cynthia. If she did not miss, she's been putting this call out for over a month. I never asked her to do this, but I so genuinely appreciate just this love and support that she and many of you share. Thank you. It means so much to me. Sister Shetla, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you, and thank you for all your continued support. I really appreciate you, sis. Sister Malaka, thank you so much for your gift. And yes, you're welcome. I'm glad that you enjoyed this teaching. Thank you very much. And continue to do what you're doing, sis. You're making a huge impact in Yasharal. Don, all is vanity. We're living in the matrix. Ain't that the truth? Great message. Very, very insightful precepts. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your gift. I appreciate you. I want to give a shout out to those of you who have also given via Cash App. Shout out to Laverne Johnson. Thank you very much for your gift. As well as a shout out to Emma Horton. Thank you very much for your gift. I appreciate you. Again, there are so many of you who support the work, and it is just, listen, honestly, it really encourages me. I had someone who left a comment and said, don't waste time thinking it, people individually. And they didn't say it rude. They were just saying, don't waste time doing it. Just think in general. And honestly, I can't do that. I really can't do that, because I know that when you give, that is sacrificial, that we as Yah's people, we don't have it like that all the time. I know we don't have it like that all the time. So I appreciate every time that you all do bless the work that I'm doing, or the work that other ministries are doing. It's not just the work that I'm doing. That means a lot. So I want to thank you individually as much as I can. Sister Shea, thank you so much for your gift. I appreciate those of you who are sending in super stickers. Even now, I'm going to make sure that I properly thank each and every one of you. Yade, thank you so much as well for your super sticker. Thank you. Blessings upon you. Sister Talisha, shout out to you, sis. I haven't seen you in a minute. Glad to see you again. Thank you so much for your gift as well. I appreciate you. Sister Georgetta Pinnock, thank you so much once again for your support. I appreciate you for just showing up and being a good support in here the way that you do. Thank you. Well, family, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I pray that your Shabbat is very restful. Again, I deliver the message. Now you can mull over it. You can bring it before Yahuwah, and however it is that he's leading you, that's where you need to go. Okay. So thank you all once again for just being who you are, the blessing that you have been and continue to be. Yah willing, I'll be back on next week. And I have plans to come back on with Brother Ron Dalton. He is working on a conference in November that he would like to discuss in more detail, especially concerning this time. So Yah willing, we'll be back on next week to deliver that message. Thank you so much, Sister Tanya Horton. Thank you very much for your super sticker. And for those of you who didn't get a chance to give but do want to, you're not left out. If you want to give, you can definitely do so through Super Thanks after the live. I appreciate those of you who are continuing to give. Thank you very much. Asath, yeah. Can you help me to pronounce that? I don't want to mess up your name. Asaisha. Asaisha. That's beautiful. Thank you very much for your gift. I appreciate you. All right, family. Let me go ahead and get my stuff all wrapped up so I can close out. Thank you. I hope this message has been a blessing to you. And as always, family, you know what we say, because it's very paramount in this time that we love ourselves without hating our enemies. Got to get our hearts right for his coming to regather us. Thank you once again. And until next time, Yah bless and Salam.